Love, light, and blessings. Shamanic Iwek Priestess here. And I wanted to do a spirit chat today, guys. Thank you to all the people that watched my new tarot series, which is going to focus on beginner tips for anyone who wants to get into tarot or divination in general. So episode 1 is up now, so please look out for that. Well, actually, not even look out for that. It has its own playlist. It's out now for those of you that didn't catch it. I'm getting ready to do some morning reads here. Just lit my pretty much frankincense and myrrh, so clearing, calling in some beautiful high vibration, spirit guides, all that beautiful stuff. Finish eating breakfast and pretty much planning out my day, which is what I usually do in the morning. Before I start my readings and start my work day. So that's literally what we're doing right now. We're starting, I'm getting, ready to start my work day. But I had a little bit of time. Okay. So I did all my nice meditations, prayers, intentions, and all of that. Lighting this incense here. So I wanted to make this quick video. Hopefully it'll be a quick video. Because it's based on a trend that I'm seeing right now. And that trend is the whole ancestor. I'm obsessed with this deck. It's the whole ancestor altar situation. So I literally last week had about 2 or 3 different clients, same issue. And it was all around the ancestor altar. So they created ancestor altars, very excited about it, said they had watched videos on YouTube about it, so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, they just felt like they were attracting some really negative energies, like literal horrible paranormal activities, nightmares, sleep paralysis, just dark entities coming forward, and that type of thing. And within that same week, last week, I had someone who's been a subscriber for a while, and they were spreading like misinformation in the comment section. So I gently, and it was gently, reminded them pretty much, like, that's kind of misinformation, so on and so forth. Saying those things could, lead somebody to pretty much open themselves up to, spiritual danger. You should, if you're going to do any type of shrine or altar, especially when I'm talking about the ATRs. I'm specifically going to stay in my lane. I cannot talk about other spiritual paths, but when we're talking about spirits like Orishas, Loas, ATRs type of situation, Piritimo, things like that, right? So Piritimo pretty much is mediumship, okay? When we're opening ourselves up to like what I would call true mediumship, like the actual channeling of allowing spirits to come into us, that type of situation. You have to know what the F you're doing, okay? You have to know what you're doing. And these 3 people were like, I was like, I think I should make a video. And then, it got busy and everything like that, working a lot, kids, school, all that beautiful stuff. So they were like, yeah, you have all these videos on YouTube. Anybody could do this. Anybody can do that. These are their words, my clients' words. But nobody ever talks about the pitfalls. Nobody ever talks about what to do if you have that happen to you. And so that's why I was like, I'm going to make basically this video because the person that was a long time subscriber was like, I supported you all these years and I'm done. You egotistical, blah, 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 blah. Basically saying like, I'm egotistical. I think I know everything, whatever. And I had felt bad. Like, I was like, okay, well, sorry to hear that, whatever. When this person was like, I'm no longer going to support you. They were never a client. They were like literally a subscriber. And then like right after that, those like within that same week, like the day after like that, like 3 days in a row, at least one person coming up to me basically telling me they needed my help. So long story short, I gave them remedies to do all these things. Let's follow up on it, whatever. But it was as if like when I felt bad for being the way that I am, for making videos about, hey, be careful, don't, be careful with appropriation, do your research, this is why I don't do spells on my channel and all these things. It just further affirmed that I was on the right path, that I was listening to the ancestors, that I am still listening to the ancestors, and that I was not coming from a place of ego. I was coming from a place of concern, because in my personal life, I've seen things. I'm seeing things, and I've been for years. But like I said, sometimes we forget, or we may question. I'm a human. It just kind of reaffirmed itself again last week, and I'm like, I'm going to make that video. So there is a danger to ancestral altars. When we're making an ancestral altar, especially if we're going by a tradition, make sure you have an actual mentor, someone who is willing to teach you how to do that. That's one of the things for anyone who's taking my hoodoo classes, okay, that I do teach, okay. I am going to be teaching that also in my Lama Dama class, okay. I'm also going to be teaching that in my folk magic, okay, because that's like such a foundational thing in these in these traditions and these practices and all of that. There is a certain way that one would go about creating an ancestral altar for safety reasons. One of the most important magical things you can learn is to protect yourself spiritually. When I am channeling, when I'm doing readings with you guys, I am saying prayers. I'm not just lighting a candle, putting some crystals, or that's what you do, that's fine, but I'm not just putting candles around and placing some crystals and throwing herbs there. Like, there's intentions that are behind that. I'm praying because everybody reads differently. When I read, I am purely channeling spirits, okay? They are communicating with me through my deck of cards. Why? Because I do channel without that, but a lot of times when I'm channeling spirits, I get possessed by spirits. I do. Clients that have been around physically for rituals have seen it, okay? I'm, like people say, your voice changes, you're talking different languages, like your face change, like it's a whole thing. I'm not going to do that in a reading. I'm not going to sit here and have spirits come in through my body and do that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not going to do that. So I save that for intimacy, very select people. It's also very draining energetically, so on and so forth. So the deal that me and the spirits have is I'm going to use cards. So whether that's, my tarot deck, this is the one that I'm using lately. The pastel one that, like I said, I'm obsessed with it. It's gorgeous. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful deck. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah. And lately I've been drawn to as well, communicating with them and doing that with playing cards. Like, I use this one for specialized readings, but I've also been using it for my regular readings as well. So I just, people go through things. I'm drawn to cartomancy again. Anyway, so that's besides the point. So that's another thing. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I make deals with the spirits. I communicate with them directly. We have boundaries because I've learned to control my spirits. And it's not like a derogatory, mean, oppressive things. Meaning I've learned to control my own energies, allowing spirits to come into me when I am okay with it. Like, I had to learn that over time. Like, I'm in control here. Like, you're not allowed to come right now. I have to work, or I have to do this, or I have to function in society. I cannot be getting possessed, or channeling spirits, or doing mediumship when I'm crossing the street, or I'm in the supermarket, or whatever. So I've learned over the years, 16 years I've been in this path, how to control when and how a spirit comes into me, that type of thing, how to work through that, safety precautions, all of that. There's so much. It's so complex. And a lot of people see learning a tradition or being under a mentor or eventually initiating as like some type of oppressive thing, and it's not, or control or dogma. No, those rules are put in because our ancestors were wise and they knew better, okay? That's why there's a certain way that we created and still create our ancestral altars. That's why we were taught, the ones that were taught directly, passed down oral traditions. We were taught that you don't put a troubled soul in one's ancestral altar. Someone who may have struggled with addictive issues, suicidal person, maybe they had really bad mental health issues in life, and they suffered. Why would you put a suffering person in an altar where you're planning to channel and work with these spirits for guidance, to grow your mediumship, to grow your spirituality, to go through that veil or connect to the other side? So knowing who should be placed in that altar, or someone who had bad intentions while they were alive with you. Also knowing the appropriate offerings that one gives. Okay. Yes, I come from the ATRs. Blood is very sacred in our practice, but knowing when to do that, who can actually do that, in what way can we do that? Like, we have to know the protocols. Okay. Like I said, protection. A lot of people, I want to learn love spells and hexes and curses, but they forget one of the most important workings, rituals, and things you can learn is protection. Like I said, when I'm doing a reading, I protect myself. When I'm done with my readings for the day, I close up that space. I open myself up to the world of spirits, but I also close that space because I have children in my home. I don't want that portal to be open and any type of spirit could come in. When you open up a ancestral altar, you're also opening up a portal. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's what you are doing. The water on the altar is a conduit. It is a way in which the spirits will come through. Okay, the plants you put there. So the altar and the peritismo and a lot of the ATRs, that white, that mesa blanca, has a lot of symbology within that mesa, within that shrine, within that whatever you want to call it, shrine, altar, whatever. Okay, it has an energy. It's a conduit. It's a way to bring in the spirits into our real day life. We have to be careful if we're bringing the right spirits. A lot of spirits will pretend to be other spirits. This is why certain prayers to certain guides, knowing who your guides are, knowing who your guardians are, knowing who your cuadro de protección, who your quadrants are, the ones that are watching you in each one of the corners. Okay, you have to know that. Who is that contact spirit? Who's that link to the other side? These are all important things to know. Going about it in a blinded way can bring chaos. I've known people that they attract energetic vampire, spiritual energetic vampire. They'll start seeing visions, sleep paralysis. Their house is all of a sudden like this hotbed of paranormal activities. Their finances are going wrong, and it's not me seeking them out. They're coming to me saying, this is what happened. I saw this on YouTube. Oh, I saw on YouTube, go to the crossroads after midnight. No, like a lot of the ATRs don't even do things after midnight. They do things before midnight. And certain the ATRs, there's certain spirits we don't talk to when a woman is going through her thing. It's not a sexism thing. Is some spirits have an aversion to blood. Okay, if you are bleeding inside, they have an aversion to blood. Or that time, because there's blood coming out of a person, can attract something ominous, low level, like literally the type of spirits that are like, they like blood, they like suffering, so there's a lot to these things. It's not just, okay, I watched the video, I'm gonna do stuff. I've seen so many people, I've seen content creators, oh, I could do whatever I want, people warning them in the comment section. Next thing you know, I knew one, I said this years ago, but maybe I have new subscribers. I could do whatever I want with Oshun. She gave Oshun an inappropriate offering, and everybody in the thing was trying to warn her. She basically told everybody to F off. And what ended up happening is she ended up losing her hair. Her spouse left her. She was like homeless because she had disappeared. And it was like, yeah, all this stuff happened. I took Oshun off. Oh, you New Age to Jesus. It has nothing to do with New Age to Jesus. It had to do with, like everybody said, if that spirit is asking you for those type of offerings, that's not Oshun. That is an evil spirit. So she literally opened herself up to a very dark, ominous, malicious spirit. Those exist, whether you want to believe that or not. Everything in life has a light side and a dark side. Everything in life is balance. Okay, it's called balance. You cannot always be in darkness. You cannot always be in light. It's the middle path is what causes balance. Okay, And so there are spirits that have our best intentions, and there are spirits that don't. We have to understand that we are in the living world. And a lot of spirits want our ashe. A lot of spirits want what we have. I remember my godmother told me something that always stood with me. She said, you have to learn to control your spirits, and you have to understand that you have the one thing that none of these spirits have, and is that you are a living being, okay? You are a living being. And a lot of them want, even if it's for a little while, to possess your vessel, to feel what it's like to feel sensations. Because as human beings, we can feel sensations. And they're willing to give you what they want, you know? That's why a lot of that happens. Like, they're willing to, they love coming into someone, a host, and being able to talk and feel things and drink and smoke, if some of them smoke or drink, and talk and flirt maybe with the people in the ritual, whatever the case may be, because they get to be alive for that time, okay? So it's definitely an energy exchange. But we have to make sure we know what are the spirits we're calling into our lives. Not just if that spirit wants to work with you. Is that spirit actually Oshun? Or is it something darker, more malicious, okay, lurking and energetically wanting to suck something that actually isn't her, but something pretending to be her? If you actually have the true Oshun, your life should not be chaotic. If you're actually working with Yemaya, your life should not be chaotic. And also, none of these spirits, and that could be controversial, would never come to you without coming with the road opener spirit. They will always have that certain spirit that we use to communicate directly with them. And no, they do not take crystals. That is not an offering. These spirits eat real living things. So if that's not happening, you 9 times out of 10, you're not really working with Oshun. You're not really working with Himaya, because these are the TikTok spirits are trending all over social media. You're not working with the real spirit. You're working with a false spirit. Do you, boo? But you're not really working with them. I know this for facts. I'm not egotistical. I'm not anything. All the stuff that happened last week just affirmed that I'm going to stay in the topic that I talk about. Like I was just telling a client yesterday. When we use terms like Goddess Oshun and Yemaya, especially when people outside of our culture are using those terms, you are literally marginalizing, disenfranchising, and disrespecting the people that this spirituality was created by. Black and brown people. The people that have the ancestors that took the whippings, they took the oppression, that even died for these traditions to happen. You are disrespecting the comisiones de las madamas and every single one of our ancestors. When I'm talking about the diaspora, okay, you are literally disrespecting them. Why? Because when our people were being colonized throughout the New World, throughout the United States, they were taught Christianity, most of them. And they were taught that there's only one God, okay? And so when you start using God and goddesses and all these types of things, you are actually disenfranchising and making the people that these spiritualities were created for fear. And just to let you know, no, they are not goddesses. They are not gods. I don't care what anybody else says. That is not the way I was taught. I was born into this. I'm 42 years old. I come from the old school, not the new school, not the new age, not the trending, not trying to sell you books, not trying to be popular, not trying to do any of that. I'm being honest and truthful when I say that is never the way that I was taught by the elders. The people that have taught me have been direct, has not been through books. I'm not making anybody else feel bad, but I'm just telling you, I actually got to sit at the foot of my elders. And the people that taught me are people that are retired, that are older. We're talking about 70, 80-year-old people, 90-year-old people, people that have been in this life, people that have practiced these things for 70 years, for 60 years, for 50 years, for 40 years. They have experience. Has been their life. And they're always telling me it's really sad to see how these spirits are trending, how they're a fad, how everybody thinks I can do whatever I want, how people are disrespecting their traditions and all of that stuff. So I talk to the people, the elders, the people that have carried on these traditions, okay? And are saddened to see what's going on with these things, how these things are trending, how people just think they could do whatever they want. I'm seeing the repercussions of that. And no, people are not doing it with bad intentions. People are wanting to reclaim their heritage. Some people genuinely feel like they're being called, but just know that there's a reason why we learn from our elders. There's a reason why we study. There's a reason why we get trained. There's a reason why we learn and do things a certain way. Everything has a reason. So take the time to learn that. You know, when something's meant for you, every door will be open to you in divine timing, But doing these things the way that I'm seeing this trend going has led to some people attracting dangerous things. These spirits, these ATR, these Loas and Orishas are spirits of nature, okay? And they are very, very good, but some of them can be chaotic depending what aspect of them you have in your spirit core. And if they're not venerated and honored a certain way, again, it could bring chaos into your life. They could bring abundance and blessings and healing and so many great things. But these are very strong ancient energies. These spirits predate Christianity. Another thing is, in the true essence, before the colonization of the beautiful continent Africa, because not all of it was colonized, but there have been various parts of Africa that have been colonized, okay? Various parts of America, well, America was all colonized, okay? And other parts of the world, you know what I mean? Before that, there was a part of Africa that created Christianity, and they believed in one main God. In the traditional ATRs, in a lot of regions of Africa, they believed in one supreme being, and the Loas, the Orishas, being an extension of that. That is how it was done back in the days. And this is why the way that we word things, the words that we use, the things that we do, word and language is important, okay? So naturally speaking, in these indigenous religions, there has always been one supreme being, and then ancestral spirits that kind of are the mouthpiece or the extensions of, or rule over certain areas. Even in the sense of the Tainos, the Semis were in that way. Like, yes, they believed that God was a woman, but they believed that there was other entities underneath this main spirit, okay? So understand that it is important. Language is important, because a lot of people are coming out of fundamentalist religious practices, and when they hear certain wording, when we whitewash and new age things, it makes the people that the spirits are literally calling back afraid of their own lineage, afraid of their own culture. So language is important. And seeing what happened last week, and having feedback from clients when I tell them, hey, you don't have to give up believing in one main deity. These are extensions of, to see the relief on my clients' faces, to see them opening up to a different form of spirituality, to see my clients reclaiming their birthright, their heritage, their lineage, their culture. I cannot explain to you the happiness and joy that brings me. The decolonization, the healing, the being able to feel like they can go back to these practices that a lot of them had ancestors that practiced. So language is important. So it's not just you're hurting my feelings. It's not just, oh, I'm being egotistical and I want to control everything. It's because when you use these terms, okay, when these terms are used, it does, in many cases, disenfranchise, further marginalize a group of marginalized people. Okay, this is why I say it's important to get that foundational knowledge. If you're going to make videos teaching stuff, make sure you know what you're actually teaching. Did an actual person teach you this, or did you read an article? Like, we have to be careful as content creators, as spiritualists. What are we putting out there? What are we putting out into the universe? But that is pretty much this video. Same thing with, do this spell, open up this altar. Everybody has an altar. When you're doing that, talk about, hey, if you start to feel the malicious energy, sleep paralysis, dark forces, dismantle that altar. Seek some type of professional counsel so that you can figure out what you need to do, okay? Because there might be an exorcism that needs to be done, a house blessing, a candle vigil. There might be something. So, yeah, like, you know, there are dangers to certain things. So it's not anybody's trying to be a gatekeeper. Certain paths, certain traditions, certain spirits. And it's just funny to me because I hear all the time, oh, I don't mess with the Fae, and the Fae energy, like I believe in it, but I respect it. But I don't see that same respect. I don't see that same energy when we talk about the Orishas and Loas. I don't see those same people that may come from that culture that the Faes come from. Those same people aren't giving my spirits respect, okay? They're pretty much like, I can do whatever I want. So if we're going to respect this phase, which I have nothing, I believe in the phase and respect those earth spirits, respect the earth spirits of the ATRs as well, okay? Let's give that same energy. Let's give that same respect. Yes, I've had clients that are not from those traditions that the spirits call them. They come to me. They learn how to serve them. And I love that, okay? Because there are spirits that will call you outside of your culture. There's nothing wrong with that. I have actually worked in the past, and it was like a temporary thing with both an Indian spirit, and I went to somebody who practiced Hinduism and learned how to appropriately honor and venerate that spirit. And I also worked with a Irish spirit. And even though I have a little bit of Irish, I don't consider myself Irish, right? I did not grow up in an Irish culture, and none of my parents are Irish. It's more like I know how that blood came, kind of like the colonization of the island. So like, you know what I'm saying. But this spirit came, we worked together, we had a relationship, and then she left. It was her, and it was the Green Man. I used to, when I first started this channel, I used to work heavily with the Green Man. No, it was like two goddesses. I worked with Gaia, and I worked with Gaia, okay, and Bridget, goddess Bridget. So basically, and Sarunos, Sarunos. So I had like four, and they left. It was a short thing. They left, and then because my ATR spirits have always been around, and then it was just exclusively the ATRs and my Taino spirits, and my American Indian spirits. But basically, that happens. We evolve. But I was always respectful. Like I always tried to learn about European culture, Irish culture, the foods, the music. I always try to be as accommodating, as respectful of a culture if I'm going to then work with a spirit outside of my own cultural practices. So that's basically like the bare minimum. Like do your research, And when those spirits came into my life, I knew they were there because I had people, like I had a Irish mentor who specifically worked with the goddess Bridget and taught me how, like what kind of things she liked and the music that they used for her and all that kind of thing. So every time I had a spirit outside of my culture, it's like somebody comes into my life. When the voodoo spirits, even though I'm part Haitian, came into my life and things like that, I had people directly from Haiti. Big Haitian family just adopt me into that and just bring me into it. You understand? When the Orishas called hard, I had Santeros bring me in. So it has always been like that, like adoption, okay? Teaching and learning. And that's why I knew, like, yes, this was something that was calling me. These are spirits that are calling me, definitely, because you can't explain away all the coincidences. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's too much of a coincidence. So anyways, enough of this. I gotta go to work. I just looked at the time, okay? I gotta start my readings for the day now. But much love, much light, much blessings. Hopefully this video made sense. So when you're watching these videos on YouTube, TikTok, social media, Instagram, just know that the thing they're leaving out about the whole thing is there is a darker side to creating an ancestral altar. So make sure that you are spiritually protecting yourself, that you are opening and closing those portals, that you are studying upon the subjects, the traditions, and the things you're looking to get into. All right, my love? Much love, much light, and much, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, please subscribe, please comment below. I look forward to hearing you guys' feedback. When I make videos and I don't see comments on them, it kind of does discourage me from making videos, to be honest. So, because then I feel like I'm wasting my time. Who's actually listening to me? So let me know what you guys think. Let's have a discussion. If you have any type of experiences you feel comfortable sharing with me in the comment section, I love that. And if you need help setting up an ancestral altar, anything like that, or you're having paranormal issues, or you just want a reading from me, or spell work, or anything like that, shamanic.priestess.com, shamanic.priestess.com. The link to my website is always in the description box. Bye.